And we are back with another SDL podcast episode. Back again. This is the voice of the SDL Joe with my co-host, Matt. How you doing today, Matt?
Wonderful. How are you?
Good. Got Edie behind the scenes, editing this up for you guys. This is going to be our Week 7 preview podcast here. We got a good slate of games this week, 4 games. I'm going to roll us right through the first one here. We have the Baby Blue Banter going up against the Red-Eye Rebounders here. We got one team on the rise and one team on the decline right now. Me and the Hoda, are favored. It is a 7.5 point spread. Red is getting 7.5. Last week, they were missing 2 guys, Sissio and Gene. I believe are making their return this week. They should have a full squad.
Gene's still in.
Gene's still out. Okay, so they only have 4. So, okay, only 4. No sub for them this week. They got, Mikey, Berman, Esco, and Sissio then. We got all 5. We're the only team that's had all 5 for every week so far. Knock on wood. I know some people are taking some vacations coming up soon. But this is going to be a slugfest. Obviously, Red can't afford to lose another game, so I'm expecting their best. 7.5 points does feel fair, though. Obviously, we're on the rise. We were rated number 2, or voted number 2, I should say, this week in the AP poll. Red down at the bottom, 9 and 10 for the most part throughout all the voters. So can they bounce back? Can we keep, our ascension going? We seem to be gelling right now. We lost, preseason finale, week 1 and week 2. We were, not looking too great. Turned it up a notch now, starting to come together as a team here. What do you think, Matt? What do you think about this matchup for us next week?
Yeah, I think 7.5. It's a lot of points. Mm-hmm. That's more than the old Elam, right? We do 9 now. Little spoilers. This is not the largest line of the night, which I think is very interesting. So yeah, favored by 7.5. Look, we it's obviously the correct direction, just given the records and the momentum as of recently. You said it was going to be a fight. I think a dog fight, or what was the word you used? It's
like a slugfest.
Slugfest. I hope not. After last week's red gray game, that was not a literal thing. But look, I said it earlier when we played blue. As a fun fact, I had never lost to Gary or Rosenberg in the SDL. Undefeated record versus those guys. But a handful of games. I have the exact opposite with Esco. I've never beaten Esco in an SDL game. So played him a handful of times, never had a chance to beat him. Not that I believe in jinxes or anything, but 7.5 is a lot of points to cover. Mm-hmm. I think we just correctly favored the right way, but look, I've got as much confidence in Baby Blue as ever, and Esco still hasn't cracked 20, right? Which is really interesting. I'm sure he's going to do it against us. It's just a matter of time until he hits that number. Look, Red back against the wall. You just don't want to fight somebody in that position. So it's going to be an interesting battle, but it's a 7.5 point spread. Going from that to what is the tightest spread, not of the night, but we've ever had on this show. Ever. We've never had this line, this spread, ever happen before. Game 2, I'm buying for you and I to be on the mic for this one together.
Yep.
But we'll see. Game 2, yellow versus black, and HardReich Bets says it's a pick'em. 0 points either direction. We've had 0.5 before. We've never had a straight pick'em, so it's going to be Fink and friends, and it's really interesting because these two teams are built differently. It's we talk about Fink being the premier player. He's the big guy, the man in the middle, the guy that can sell touches. The A player for black is the smallest guy on the court, a guard, 0 back to the basket, a shooter, having his best offensive in terms of scoring performance season in the SDL in Jose. So it's just funny how these two teams are kind of contrasting a little bit. Ian is really efficient in his shooting, which is the kind of second option there. And I believe both squads are full, so I don't think Bregman is going to be in Disneyland or Pyongyang or anything else. So I think this is going to be a 5-on-5 pick'em. I mean, what else could you ask for on a Tuesday?
And welcome back, folks, to the SDL Live podcast. Game of the week this week is black team and yellow team, and we have a special interview from the Blacktop Legends, none other than A-Bomb, Aaron Goodman. Welcome to the podcast. Welcome in. How are you doing this fine Friday morning?
Great to be here, Matt. Great to join you. Appreciate it.
Of course, I see a little hardware on the fingers there. These little things.
Morning ritual polishing my championship rings. Caught me in the middle.
Oh, very good, very good. So speaking of your back-to-back championships and the Blacktop Legends, 2026 season 3, the drama season, bit of an up and down for the black team. You've got games like last week, for instance, blowing out the 10th place green team, 40 point win. I don't even remember. I'll be perfectly frank, didn't watch the whole thing. It was too painful. And then you guys got some losses. But what's interesting is you guys seem to win and lose depending on if Bregman is, riding Splash Mountain, digging holes in Pyongyang, or actually in the gym. What's the deal with Bregman, and why does your team just kind of live and die with him? Obviously, Jose's the best guy on the team. Why is Bregman so integral to your win-loss record this year?
Yeah, appreciate the question. Listen, Matt, I want to take a step back and just say, first of all, it's an honor to be interviewed by a former collegiate basketball player like yourself. And personally, I've played 4 seasons of JCC ball, some intramural, some pickup here. And, I'm in the SDL for the brotherhood, cardio, maybe some emotional damage here and there. But I have to say, when a former D3 basketball player like yourself says that there's off the court troubles with Black, I got to take that seriously. Okay. And I want you to know that I came with some receipts. Okay. Okay. So we might have to dive in here. Now, to answer your question about the black team, I want to clear some more air here as well. So I want to frame this, okay? So first of all, I mean this with all due respect to the SDL 8. They deserve a ton of credit, right? The league, the stats, the podcast, the lines, all the content, it's fantastic. It makes the league exceptional. It's a ton of fun. And personally, I don't have the skill, the patience, the time to do something like that. So major props. But when we're stepping back and looking at the black team, and I also want to preface this. I'm not complaining here about roster changes. Everyone deals with it, right? Every season we've had it. But I'm a man of my word, Matthew, right? So when the SDL 8 says the championship team can run it back and the championship team unanimously agrees to run it back, but then Sassy and Two-Tone ends up on green, I take a little bit of a problem with that. Now, that said, Black, we're a team that adjusts, right? We got off the bat in season 1 before Sassone was on our team. We had Armando. Took us a little bit of time to gel, and we went on, I believe, a 10-0 run that allowed them down straight through to the championship. Second season, we wanted to run it back, of course. Armando gets pulled, bring in Sasson. That's okay. Sasson fits right in, and we keep going. But we took a little period to adjust. Again, win the championship. Now, like I said, Sassone's gone. We bring in Jerry, and we hear a lot of criticism about Black falling apart. And this is where I'm going to dive into some receipts here. So this is from the SDL Live podcast week 3-4 combo episode. This is you, Matthew, speaking. Black has not looked like themselves. They're a shell of their former selves. You even went after the Don's t-shirt sales. And I got to tell you, man, you got to watch out. Okay. You're getting a little too personal for Lon. And, I don't know what might happen to you. You might be in danger. All right. There's another line here. Let's see. Not to hate on Black, but they just don't look like themselves. That was the same podcast. Going into week 6, we were not playing within ourselves. And then the biggest one here, there might be some tension on Black. They don't talk as much. They used to be one of the most vocal teams in the league. And the killer line here is that they might be noticing some off the court troubles from Black. Okay. So I want to clear the air again. There's no off the court troubles here. All right. What you're seeing is a natural adjustment. Okay. We lose a key piece in Sasson. We got to bring in Jerry into the system. Right. And it's showing, like you said earlier, 30-point W last week. Jerry dropped 10, MVP of the game. Right. So you're seeing the Black team come together here. Right. Now going back to Bregman, hey, family first, right? That's I think how we all take this. This is
it's in the title. Yep, it's in the title. I totally get it.
So I understand. The Black team has accommodated him, and he's committed. He's a great basketball mind. He helps in all over the court. You see in the stat line, right? So he didn't show for the championship game. Stuff happens. people stepped up, right? And we won it. So we're not going to bash him. We want everyone. We want to be pumping on full cylinders, and we plan to do that the rest of the season. But I got nothing bad to say about my boy Bubbles. Yeah,
fair enough. One that 4 minutes was one of the greatest 4 minutes of podcast interviews in the history of this. So thank you for that. Look, I stand by my comments when, I still think you guys are quieter than you were last season on the court. And maybe that's just because you guys have played 3 seasons together. You don't need to talk as much. Who knows? I don't know. I'm just saying I do feel I stand by my comment. I'm in the gym a lot. I've watched the black team a lot. And I, honestly, being part of the SDL 8 now, I will say responding as one of those members. Yes, it was committed to that you guys could run it back. That was verbally committed. But one hat tip I have to give to the dictator, no matter what, it has always been said that every decision that the SDL 8 makes has to be for the good of the league. And when putting roster construction together, and let me just tell you, that was one of the most painful 10 hours of work we've had to do with this. And that's how long it took, over 3 or 4 different nights. There's nothing enjoyable about that. And for the good of the league, it made sense to make those switches. But I understand we kept the core 4 together. That's what we called you guys. The core 4 of black have been together for those 2. We kept it together the same, but win the championship or not, black is going to be broken up next year. And that's just a little writing on the wall that I've heard. But
just to clarify that as well, that was unanimous. We said it before the season coming in. It might have even been when we thought Sasson was coming back with us, that this was our last run. We're going to go for that 3-peat and make a break. We'll see what happens. But we're all ready. We're happy with the franchise and the legacy that we built, and we're going to give it our all this season. Hopefully we'll get that 3-peat, but we know we're going to kind of ride off into the sunset and, find other opportunities to play with others in the league. Again, part of what's the best thing about this league is all the guys, being able to play with different people is just, one of those benefits. Get to know other guys better, camaraderie. We had a great run. Win or lose in the championship this season, we fully intend to win. But we're not running.
So let me pivot quickly, because you said something that we've been talking about internally in our Baby Blue chat, as well as it's been talked about a little bit in the SDL 8 chat. It's incredible to us, and let me know if you agree, disagree. It's very, very apparent that the teams from a skill perspective, top to bottom, obviously nothing's perfect. We feel like they're pretty well balanced. Not to pat ourselves in the back, we feel like we did a pretty good job with what we were given. But what seems to make the teams win, the winning teams win and the losing teams lose, just are so surrounded by team vibes. Like Baby Blue started, Lewis is requesting trades, joking about those things, and we started on a losing streak, right? We started 0-2. We had an internal meeting with our team. We're like, hey, let's just keep the vibes high, keep everything going. Edie was playing terrible. Edie keeps shooting. Joey was playing terrible. Joey keeps shooting. Edie had a breakout game 2 weeks ago. Joey had a breakout game last week. The grade team, up until last week, they were playing incredibly well. That team has super high vibes. And then you look at teams like Green and Red, who have talent. I mean, Sack is one of the best guys in the league. Baumer, is there a better in-game 3-point shooter than Baumer, genuinely? Yet those teams are losing, and it just doesn't seem like those vibes, those teams click. How much do you think team vibes and team energy lead to and translate to wins in the SDL? I think it's a very, very high correlation, genuinely.
%. Yeah, no question. That's something that's been great about being on black is, we have got our ups and downs, right? But we're always looking to get better. We're always communicating. Some of the post-game discussions. And personally, look, I said it before, my experience in basketball is essentially limited to pickup games and some JCC ball prior to the SDL. Maybe the peak of my basketball career was playing pickup games in college, generally speaking.
Well, hang on a minute. I was told that your peak basketball experience was on the JCC Green team. Tell us a little bit about what that whole enigma, was in the JCC.
Yeah. JCC Green team was a great squad. I think we, if I remember from memory, team captain Matt Sissio, Sis Dogs. Ian Rosa, the man with the beautiful flowing hair, Mike the dentist, Rosenthal, and then actually a new sub to the SDL, Zach Benash, if I said his last name correctly. We had.
By the way, we got clarity. I believe it's Bennick, by the way.
Really? Bennick.
Yes.
Sorry, Zach. So yeah, we had a good squad. I'm missing one person. I think it was Kevin was his name. Good team, good vibes. I enjoyed playing with those guys, but I do have one big problem on that team. And
go ahead.
I think genuinely the rumors about the dysfunction that you've been mentioning on the black team are coming from this one person that I played with there. And essentially he stabbed me in the back. I'm not going to call him a toxic teammate, although others may say that. Ian Rosa, man, I gave him my all, right? On the court, off the court, hustle, effort, vibes, apps, high five, positive body language. I gave it all to Ian, and he told me we're going to run it back, Goodman, next season, right?
And then what happened?
He stabbed me in the back, and he sold out to win a championship with Bootman. All right, and you know what happened? We took him out. My white team took his orange team out in the semifinals, right? And, did I score that game? No, I didn't score a point. Did I need to? Also, no. Okay. But, this game this week, this is a revenge game against Ian. All right. Nothing against the rest of the squad on yellow. Those guys are solid. Fink, wow, what a monster. The guy can do it all, as we've all learned. He can grab the mic and flow with the game like the best of them, and probably has the strongest inside-outside game in the league. Obviously, he's a beast on rebounding. So we got to figure out that monster, right? But, me personally, my vendetta here is against Ian.
You have okay. Wow, that's insane. Okay, so you brought it up. Speaking of this week, Blacktop Legends versus Yellow Light Hustlers. I still maintain one of the hardest team names to say. It's wildly annoying. The Yellow Light Hustlers. Obviously, you mentioned Finkenstein. Obviously, to date MVP, Rookie of the Year. I mean, you could argue for almost any of those awards. Let's just do this live. I just got the lines, right? We're just, so we're recording the rest of our podcast right after this interview. I'm going to give you the live line, what just came from HardReich Bet literally 15 minutes ago. And I want you to tell me your thoughts on the line, where you think the line should be in your eyes. And obviously, who do you think the public is going to back? Obviously, I know you're going to back the Blacktop Legends. Who do you think the public's going to back? So, guys, we've never had this line before. From HardReich Bet. Black team versus yellow team is a pick'em, a literal pick'em. There is no favorite. There's no line. He thinks this is the first time two teams have ever played. Normally, now we've had 0.5 lines. We've had 0.5, like this team's basically just ever so slightly favored, literally a half a point. This is the first ever true pick'em. You have a confused look on your face, as I did when I read it. What are your thoughts? Do you think yellow and black are that evenly traded? I think yellow's been trending in the top 2 or 3 in the AP poll pretty consistently. And I think the AP polls had black anywhere from as high as 2 to as low as like 4 or 5. So you guys aren't far away from each other in the AP poll. Now the AP poll is more recency. Trend is a lot of the AP poll, right? It's not so much, this team beat that team 4 weeks ago. There's less weight on the AP poll in that. It's more, how is the team playing right now? How is the team doing right now? Tell us about the pick'em and what you think.
Yeah, my first thought here is, how is HardReich going to take any action on a pick'em? Big gambler, but I understand how lines work, so I don't know how you can bet a game without a favorite. That said, I think it's legit. It's a fair line. Obviously, you've got the Fink Nest monster. Or what did you call him a second ago?
Finkenstein, like Frankenstein.
I think it's the block Nest monster is what I'm confusing.
That's pretty good. That's good too. Yeah, I like that.
So yeah, Finkenstein. We got to figure that out. I think we got an interesting game plan. Some curveballs up our sleeve, perhaps.
Some planned doubles, I presume. You have to double team them, if not triple.
I think everyone's seen that screen cap of, I think it was maybe the green team.
4.
4 guys around Fink, and the rest of the yellow team spread out around the 3-point line, I think. We're well aware of where the threat is. No knock to the other guys in the squad. They're all solid ball players. But we got to take care of Fink first. I think we've got a decent game plan to do that. I think it's going to come down to what happens with the rest of the guys. Fink's going to get his, right? He's going to feast. He's going to get his points and his rebounds and his blocks. There's no question about that. But it comes down to us being able to shut down, I guess contain him. It's that you can't stop him, can only hope to contain him concept. And then us being able to make sure the other guys can't get too much and maybe challenging them to step up. So I think it's a legit fair line. It could go either way, honestly. I'm excited for it. We actually the preseason runs. We played, I think, either 2 or 3 games at the Palm Meadows gym, and our next game before everyone decided the floor was too wet, it was slippery. I think it became a hazard. Our next game was against Yellow and Fink. So we haven't seen him on the floor, that team yet. And I know the roster shuffled a little bit, obviously, with Nebo joining the mix recently. But, we've watched some film. Obviously, we've got that available, and I think we've got a solid plan. So, look, I would take us, of course, like you said. I've got all the confidence in the world in our ability to win. And look, we've seen Yellow show, they're not unstoppable. They're not undefeated. So I think the green team beat them, right?
2 losses. And green and white week 1.
Yeah. And, week 1, it's tough. Teams haven't played together yet. People have to gel. So I'll give them a pass there. But obviously they've shown that they can be beaten. So, we're black teams never afraid of a challenge. So we're ready.
Fair enough. Now, you did mention, the other guys on Yellow team, you were very complimentary of them. But I do have to say, for all the fans at home, right before the recording started, A-Bomb asked me to name all the players on Yellow to make sure he knew what they were. He obviously knew Fink and Ian. It took him about a half a second to remember Medeiros, and then another few seconds to remember Arif, and then said, and who's the 5th guy on that team? So throwing shade at the commissioner and founder, that is Eric Libo. So we have two more segments left. One really quick one. You were the very first recipient of a Spirit Tech for punching the wall and punching the mat in the gym. Just tell us what was going through your head. I believe you won the Lou that week, if I'm not mistaken, on a 2 for 20 or 2 for 22 performance. 2 for 22 performance, 20 misses. That's where my 20 came from. Just walk us through the mindset.
Yeah, it was frustration, obviously. I punched the padding. The padding's meant for impact. So, it wasn't like I went and punched a glass door or anything. No, not anyone else in the league. But sometimes I get frustrated. Obviously, that was a tough one. Bregman was out. We only had 4. Points have got to come from somewhere. Most people in this league know my game. I'm not one. I'm not a volume shooter by any means. That I put up 22 shots is pretty shocking. But at the end of the day, the shots got to come from somewhere, especially when the focus is on locking down the Lon point guard, duo right there. So Jerry and I needed to step up, and frankly, we just didn't. Obviously, I was forcing shots. My game was total dog crap. So there was a lot of frustration in that game. It was probably the most frustrating game that I've experienced in the SDL. But it just goes to show you how important Bregman is to this team. And I think it was also a good experience for us to get through that low earlier in the season. And I think we're going to be hitting on all cylinders now. I mean, we saw it last game. Obviously, Green was a little bit short-handed. Hope you're feeling good, Two-Tone. That was an unfortunate situation, but we were feeling good. And like I said, Jerry dropped that 10 spot, which was fantastic.
Look at these geeks. Look at these geeks.
Oh no!
Look at this geek over here.
What is going? What is this? What is happening? There was some shade thrown earlier in this interview by A-Bomb, who
I've
said,
heard. The streets have been telling me. I've heard.
I was stabbed. Quote: I was stabbed in the back by Ian.
When
we were told. Go ahead, A-Bomb. Explain it to him.
Don't pretend like you don't know this, Ian. Come on, man. Ian, we were boys back on JCC Green, I believe.
Best team in the world.
Wonderful team. Say again?
Greatest team in the history of middle-aged men's sports. Do you agree or disagree?
Quite potentially. But my issue is the next season that you stole me down the river, man. You promised we would run it back. I was so excited.
Happened?
You drafted Bootman, and you threw me to the wolves, dude. And you know what? We got our revenge though. We took you guys out in the semifinal games.
Was that the game when Lewis wouldn't reschedule because Bootman was missing and Lewis was very excited, so he wouldn't reschedule it?
No comment. I'm not sure about that one.
I recall that game.
So Ian, I'm going to give you the line right here. The line from HardReich Bet, hot off the press, black versus yellow is a straight pick 'em. Tell us what you think.
I think black is a very good team when Bubbles is playing. When Bubbles didn't play, I think they lost by like 40 points. So clearly him being there is helpful. They have some good strong post defenders in A-Bomb. Jose is very good at defending the post. I saw Jerry shooting threes last week. So between Jerry, A-Bomb, Jose, and Bubbles, they have a good team. But I don't think they're as good as the last 2 years, and I think the run is over for them, to be honest.
You also missed somebody on the squad, the Don, integral part of the team.
I forgot because I just remember playing you guys game 1 of season 1, and Jordan was there. So in my head, it's always Jordan, the original team.
Word is he's healthy and wants his spot back too, which I thought was interesting.
Jordan. I think Jordan really deserves it. He was good that game. He looked very motivated, and seeing A-Bomb, Jordan, Jose, Bregman, that's a squad. So yeah, but either way, I don't think we're very worried. We have
So we were just before you kicked the door in here. We were just talking about Goodman's Spirit Tech, and I was about to ask him if he regretted it. And I don't think we ever got the answer to that. A-Bomb, do you regret punching the wall and getting your Spirit Tech?
Honestly, no. I believe we won that game. Oh, no. I'm sorry. Well, no, we won the next game. We actually had to pay the penalty, so to speak. So the only regret I would have would be if it hurt the team. Thankfully, we pulled out the W if my memory is working here properly. And, I thought it'll be a trivia history. I'll live in infamy as the first to get a Spirit Tech and sit on a stool in the leagues.
Ian, do you think Goodman is, how would you describe him, spirited or unspirited?
He's great. I think he's very spirited. Great teammate. Teammate.
He's a lot of
Fair enough.
And I thought the same about you.
I got the second Spirit Tech like 20 minutes late.
Yeah, it's true. That's actually factual. JCC Green Team littered with Spirit Techs. So Ian, question. I need a Fink line from you. I think so far the best performance against Fink to date was holding him to 27 points, 34 rebounds, or 27, 29, I think something like that.
Under 30 rebounds.
That's correct. Yeah, correct. Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, correct. It was Baby Blue. It wasn't me. It was Baby Blue. We threw double teams at him. So it was Baby Blue.
Who else rebounded on that team?
What is the line for Fink points and rebounds, Ian? What do you think?
It depends. I've heard rumors that one individual on the black team calls himself the Fink killer. So if he has the balls to try to go single team, which I don't think he has the balls, but if he does, and he wants to back up his talk, I would say the line is 50-50. I suspect he doesn't have the balls, and he's going to need the help, from tremendous defenders like A-Bomb and Jose and Bubbles and Jared. And then I'll knock the line down to like 40 and 35.
Interesting. So we've never had a 40-40 game yet. So he's been close. I think he had a 42-38, if I'm not mistaken, something like that, or 42-36. So he's been knocking on the door of the first 40-40 game.
It really depends on how bad we are as the pips. So if we shoot like 15%, the 40-40 is much more realistic.
It's in play.
Yeah, I'm hopeful we're going to have some mean reversion and shoot like 28% this week. So he might not get as many rebound opportunities.
Fair enough. A-Bomb, before you joined Ian, A-Bomb, when we first started recording, he said, "Hey, real quick, before you push the record button, who else is on yellow besides Fink and Ian?" And I needed some help naming all your players, so I think you guys should be pretty insulted by that.
Well, Lebo,
the only one I missed was Lebo. Let's keep the record straight. I got Arif and Medeiros myself. It was just Lebo.
Lebo played with us last night. He looked tremendous. He was an A+ defender, and I think we all left, and Jose did not argue it. He was there debating if we should put turnstiles on his arms, like from the turnpike, and have him beat you guys with it to make it a little more even.
Oh, this has clearly gone off the rails, guys. Hey, Bomb, thank you so much for joining the SDL Live Game of the Week interview. Do you have any parting words for the opposing team or each other? Let's keep it all above the belt here.
Just say, may the best team win. I'm looking forward to it. We're going to leave it all out on the court, and good luck to Yellow.
Ian?
I've already told my mom we're winning. We've won this week. She was very proud. My mom, my wife, they care so much about the league, and they're very excited that we beat the champions already.
Is your wife home? Can we get a 2-minute interview with
just heard the
Mrs.
door
Rosa?
open from the gym, and if I go down there, she'll probably pretend she's working very hard and tell me to get out of her office. So she knows nothing about the league except that we beat the champions this week, which was so thrilled and proud.
Fantastic. Okay, folks. Well, again, thank you so much for watching this special edition interview of the SDL Live podcast, Game of the Week Player Clash. Hopefully we do this every single week as schedules permit. A special thank you again to A-Bomb and to Ian for joining. And hey, look, may the best team win come next Tuesday. Back to the live podcast.
What else could you ask for on a Tuesday night besides a pick'em game between two? I think they're always in that top 4. I think Black might have slipped to 5 one week after Brendan wasn't there, but consensus top 4 teams in the AP poll, and it's a straight pick'em. So I'm really excited. What are your thoughts, Joey?
Yeah, I love the matchups here. First off, you got down low, you got potential MVP Finkenstein back coming off of a bye, right, versus Lon. Obviously, Fink leads the league in rebounds by far, but Lon is number 2 or 3 right behind him. Big J's right in there as well. That's going to be a slugfest down low. I want to see how the rebounding battle goes there. Jose versus, Fink and the Pips, like they call themselves over there. Can Ian hit the shots? Can Sean hit the shots? Can Lebo hit the shots? Can Arif hit the shots? And then also on the other side, Black, is it going to be a good game from Bregman? Can Goodman get going? Can Jerry score again? Jerry broke double digits this week. If he has around that range, Black is going to win a bunch of games and stuff like that. He knocks down a few shots. So it's going to be a slugfest. It's definitely game of the week, and it's a tough game to pick. Like the HardReich's right on top of this. If I had to pick, this one comes down to whoever's hitting their shots tonight, or on Tuesday, I should say. This one's going to come down to a make or miss game, like every other game. But it's going to be who pulls it out in Elam. It's definitely, I feel like it's going to be tight into Elam and coming down to at least 2 or 3 buckets. I don't see this being a blowout.
Who are you picking?
I'm going to go with Yellow. Here's why. Because I always like to say, my favorite reason is water likes to find its level. And 2 weeks ago, coming before the bye, Yellow, besides Fink, shot 8% as a squad. You know what I mean? They had 2 Luke candidates. They had one, Ian shot decent, but still very low. I think Sean missed 20 plus. Arif won the Lou. I see those guys bouncing back. And if those guys bounce back and Fink has a decent game, they should win. You know what I mean? But Black is still, you got the Jose and Lon pick and roll. If that gets rolling and Jose turns on that clutch in the 4th quarter, like we see him do all the time, if he wants to win a game by himself, he will do it. And his scoring has been phenomenal this season. You know what I mean? Right. 40 and on 67% shooting last week could have easily been player of the week. You know what I mean? Absolutely monster game. I'm going to edge it out just a little bit for Yellow this week, only because I think they bounced back coming off a bye, off of a bad game before that, even though they won. So what do you think? Who do you think is going to pull this one out?
I'm going to say the line was perfect at a pick.
Right. It's tough.
And I'm also going to pick Yellow. And literally the only reason is fresh off of a bye. They sat last week, no bumps, no bruises. To me, I hate the bye because I love playing, but we're fresh coming off of it, genuinely. So I'm gonna go with Yellow, but I mean, you could have made that line 0.1, and I probably would have taken the points either direction.
Game 3,
yeah, please.
Game 3 of the night, we got another one. We got green and purple. This one, I'm expecting, a high intensity game. Those 2 teams like to get into it. I'm not sure if Sasson is going to make it back in time. He's probably more of a game time decision this week, coming off of his accent there. Get better soon, Sasson. But this is the largest spread of the night, guys. This one's going to be green plus 8.5. Purple is favored. Purple coming off another tough loss last week after starting the season 3-0. But this game, I think, is a good matchup because they are 2 of the teams in the league that play semi-small ball. Like, they don't have the traditional bigs on either side. They have Saka and Bomber, and on the other side, you know what I mean? You got Vasquez and Jared and Mondo, who Mondo plays great down low, but I mean, he's not your traditional back to the basket like we say all the time. You Fink or Hoda or Big J. So this one's going to be, I feel like it's going to be a fast-paced game. It's going to be back and forth. There's going to be a lot of shots put up. I'm going to see, a lot of Saka drives to the hoop. Spread-wise, I like Green on the spread here. 8.5 points is a lot. That's almost 9-point elam. I think purple wins the game. I like them to win the game on the money line, but I'm taking the Green 8.5 points here. I'm expecting a big game from Hoseby too. He's been, silently just got traded a few weeks ago. Only played a couple games with his team.
Silently?
Well, silently on the, not in banter, folks, not in banter, but on the court, see, he's been quietly fitting into Green over there. Hasn't been taking many shots. We've all been telling him in the chat, take more shots, shoot more, you know what I mean? Because he shoots a good percentage. Look to get his a little bit more. I'm expecting him to have a big week this week with not a traditional big down there. Hopefully he can impose his will. But what do you think? Does purple get out of their rut here, or does Green get out of their rut? Because Green hasn't been winning either. Neither team can afford to lose this game.
Yeah, we talked about it on the recap podcast on the pain scale of how the teams were feeling, team vibe-wise, and we said purple doesn't look the greatest. So that tells me one of two things. It's going to go one of two ways. They're either going to blow the living doors off of Green, or Green's going to cover, and this is going to be a really, really tight matchup. So because you took Green and the cover, I'm going to go with purple, and I'm going to say Jared shows up on offense. He's going to have 10, 12 points, which for him is a lot. Vasquez scores in the 30s, is my guess, and I think purple runs away with it. Not another 30-point game like last week versus black versus green. But, I'm going to say purple's going by double digits. I like the line. I think the line was set pretty well, honestly.
Yep. Especially with Sasson out. If Sasson was in there, it's a little bit closer, obviously. But yeah, that's tough. And Furman's banged up too. You know what I mean? His knee, he 2 or 3 times last week, he grimaced out there and it wasn't looking good. Furman, buy his sleeve, man. They're like $8 on Amazon. Get one on there. Get a little protection on there. Get something to help you out. But yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Moving on to game 4. Arguably could have been game of the week. Some breaking news. We have 2 lines with and without Brandon Silver. Still to be determined if he's going to play. Obviously, he doesn't have to kind of announce until the game before. Knowing him, he's a gamer. He's going to try to play. We don't know how limited he's going to be on minutes. We don't know how limited he's going to be on, explosiveness and being able to kind of run around and move. He hurt his back moving a fridge for some reason.
Correct. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. We need to get a George segment on that. What do you think about that?
Yeah, we might have to get George back. So right now with Silver out, okay, so no Brandon Silver in. The line is currently the well-rested off by blue collar ballers minus 2.5, so favored, versus the slugfest from last week, Beard G.O.A.T.S. I did do some sleuthing with HardReich Bet, and I just said, hey, if Brandon is playing and he's in his sort of normal self, it's a 5-point swing. Gray would then be minus 2.5 points. Either way, blue versus gray, it's going to be a great game. -3 either way, -2.5 either way. It's going to be a lot of back and forth. He's leaning blue with Silver out. If Silver is out, I like blue to win that game. If Silver is in, I still think it's a close game. I probably like Gray to win, but I think it's on a really close. I'm taking the ballers and the points if they're underdogs. In either way, I think we have a 1, 2, 3 point game here when it comes to Elam. Shout out Dennis Kelly had 37, I believe, last week, which puts him 46 away from being the SDL's first 1,000-point scorer. Okay. My bold prediction, I think he's going to accomplish that this week, regardless if Silver plays. I'm predicting a 46 to 48 point game from Dennis Kelly. I predict him to be the first 1,000-point scorer. Just for context, I think number 2 is like 700 and something.
Right. Not close.
Yeah, right. Another season away. Not that much, but another 6 games away. But yeah, that's my prediction. Joey, what do you got here with Silver in, Silver out?
Like you said, could be game of the week if we didn't have our game 2 slot. I love this game here. If Silver's out, I'm gonna go off of that preface right now. I like blue. They're coming off of a bye, and before the bye, they came off of a tough loss to us. I think Perry has a great bounce back game. I've played with him before. When he has one down week, that doesn't continue. Usually he has 3 or 4 great weeks after that. You know what I mean? So I'm expecting a great week out of him. Rosenberg and Dennis is always a great matchup, or versus Perry, depending on what they're going to go with out there. Hopefully Snyder's out there knocking down shots for Blue. I'm excited to see the Wall versus the Camper down low. That's a great matchup. Gary had a great game. We didn't really talk much about the Gray game last week, obviously because it was a slugfest and we wanted to, get into that little bit of bickering. But Gary had a great game for Gray last week. Silent hit a nice little running jumper down the baseline. So I'm excited to see if he can continue his good play. When they don't have Brandon, it's tough. You can see they get a little winded in the second half there. You don't have a sub in this league, and if Blue is full, Bobby is a great spark plug out there. He's running around, hitting mid-range shots. I like Blue this week. I do, only because Gray seemed to have a little bit of struggle in the second half. They were up big time on Red. I'm talking 20-30. And then Berman and hit a few big shots. And next thing you know, Red went into Elam leading that game. They ended up losing and Gray won, but let's see where they go matchup wise. Sean's been playing well. It's Rav's been playing great all season. He had a down week last week. It was probably his worst week of the season. See if he bounces back. Tight spread, but I'm going to take Blue -2.5 on this one. I like them this week. Let's see what they do.
Okay, what if Silver plays?
If Silver plays, that's a different ball game, obviously, because then you have another ball handler on Gray. Takes a little bit of the load off the guys over there. You know what I mean? He obviously gets 15 rebounds, 15 points, 15 to 20 or more. You know what I mean? So this guy's a 15 and 20 to 20 guy a night. That eases everyone else's. You know what I mean? Then you get a breather too. So that if that's the case, this game, I would say Gray 1.5, 2.5, just like Reich said, because they are obviously the number one team. I think Blue was number 5, 4, 5, 6 in the AP poll this week. Off the top of my head, I don't have it here. Pretty close there. They've been there all season. This one, it's like a pick'em game. I like the rosters. It's going to be a slugfest, and hopefully, I'm going to be in the gym for this one. I can't wait.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good one. Game 2 and 4 are gonna be fantastic. So yeah, I'm excited. This could be a good week of the SDL. I think the 2 games with the larger spreads. Again, I think our game is going to be closer than the spreads think. It's just because of Red's attitude where they're at right now. And again, I took purple against your pick just to be a little bit different. I can see purple blowing the doors off them, but at the same time, one of us thinks that they're going to cover that 8.5 point spread. So I think we're due for just one of those really, really amazing SDL nights. A lot of close games, a lot of battles, a lot of matchups.
Which is fun. And it's always a great night in the SDL on Tuesdays when you get the intensity in there, everyone having a little bit of fun, and the games are close. Because when it gets out of hand, you know what I mean? Things get a little wonky. Guys start slipping on the floor. Stuff like that starts to happen. So definitely this week we have a great slate of games. Few guys on a bye. They get to rest up this week, but I can't wait to see it. You know what I mean? Also, our game, like you said, I think our game is underrated. Red's going to be clawing for their life. We're getting close to the trade deadline, halfway, All-Star game. All that stuff's coming up, too. So we got really exciting stuff coming in the SDL here. Season 3, the drama season, has lived up to its name so far through 6 weeks.
Absolutely. Joey, quick prediction for you. Do you have a player of the week prediction? I'm just going to throw this one out there. Didn't warn you, just threw it out there.
I wanted to say, I missed this in our recap. I wanted to say thank you to Fink and the schedule makers, because the only reason I was able to win it last week is because he had the week off, folks. Okay, listen, that kind of was perfect timing for me. But I mean, I don't.
Okay, give me a Finkless. Give me a Finkless player of the week for week 7.
I'm going to stay away from our game just because that gets biased. So I'm thinking, even though I picked against them, I'm really excited to see Jose this week. Coming off a 40-point game, shooting like 70%-ish last week. I'm curious to see how Yellow handles. Obviously, Fink's going to get his down low. We just mentioned him. Him versus Lana is a battle. How do they handle Jose? Because do you put Ian on him? Obviously, you know what I mean? You probably start there. You don't put Sean there because Jose's too quick. But with the pick and roll, I'm curious how he gets around, navigates the mid-range. Potentially player of the week, Jose, for me.
Fair enough.
What about you? I'll bounce it back at you. Let me see what you got.
Yeah, I think Vasquez is mentioned, but I think Dennis, like I said, I think Dennis scores 46, 48 and becomes a 1,000-point scorer. He wants it. He deserves it. I think, when you're in that mid-40s, I think Dennis takes that title.
Yep. Makes sense.
That's all I've got, my man.
1,000 points is a lot. 1,000 points is a lot. We were talking about, I think number 10's at like 550. So if he hits 1,000, the next guy's in the 500. He's doubling up some guy in the top 10. That's a lot. That is buckets right there. We should just get him a neck, put it around his, and wear it like a chain at all times.
So true. Absolutely true.
Yep. But for my guys, once again, Matt, awesome episode. Edie's going to edit this up. Thanks once again. I'm going to give a shout out to our sponsors, Stellar Smiles down in Boca Raton. If you need any dental work, they also do Botox, Invisalign, all that good stuff. Make sure you let them know that the Suburban Dads League sent you, and they will give you a great discount. And Tiger Air. Nobody blows better. Make sure to get yours at tigerair.com. And our wonderful guys over at Sports Physio. We couldn't do this league really without Sports Physio. Those stats are amazing. If you guys need any stats for your leagues, even, little kids all the way through adult leagues, they do it all. Give them a shout. Let them know that the Suburban Dads League and Edie sent you, and they will be sure to help you guys out. But for my excellent co-host, Matthew, for Edie behind the scenes and the entire SDL, we will see you guys live Tuesday, 6 p.m.